That's what happens when you throw me under the bus. Good morning. It is Wisdom Wednesday, Wacky Wednesday, Wind Down Wednesday. We out of here Wednesday.
I'm in on some Wine Wednesday. Wine Wednesday sounds great.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Good morning.
Middle of the week, middle of the final week for us, not for everybody else, but it feels like everybody's starting to check right out to holidays. Like even on the call.
There are some people, make no mistake. I'm not it's like I'm not that. I'm definitely not that.
That's what I've said to everybody. Like I'm like, yeah, like we're off the next 2 weeks, but like if you need something, just like call me, or like text me, or like
we are grinding away. I mean, totally grinding away. Looks like LinkedIn is working this morning. Good morning, Debbie Hammer, Jonathan Aarons, very nice. Way to go. Boom, boom, boom.
Jamie Tribble, good morning.
Yes, indeed.
Counting on Jamie Tribble for a fact check in the email. I love that.
Fact checking for us. We talked about, like on PTI at the end of the show, there's a fact check. She was there, but, I found on NobelPeacePrize.org that the first statesman was.
First statesman. There it is. There's the asterisk. There it is.
So, both right. There you go, man. Good shit. Good stuff. Anything exciting happen on your Tuesday?
All kinds of great stuff. I mean, personally, we got a Christmas tree last night. Finally,
nice.
Which we were a little late to the party. I got to tell you, like we went to the Christmas tree tent. With slim pickings.
From what I understand, it was not an easy thing to do.
No,
the Christmas tree.
So that's good news then, because like I thought it was just because we showed up a week late. But we were walking around the thing and like they were looking a little dingy, and I was like, I don't know, are we gonna buy one of these? Like, is one of these gonna work?
Yeah, dingy in supply.
And so we actually waited, and the guy pulls one out of the truck and throws it down into the ground right as we were standing there. And I was like, oh, that's the one. I was like, that's it. So we walked over, we saw it, and that happened to be the Christmas tree. And then all of the extravaganzas that have to go with, fixing it in the stand and getting it directly upright and getting it in the right position in the house, yeah.
That is a distant memory for me, my boy. Jake and I went to eat downtown, and we absorbed all the lights and all of the trees and all of the music and said, thank you.
Go fake. Go fake. Go plastic. Throw it up whenever you're ready.
Lots of really cool stuff happening this week in the sports world. We failed to mention, but look at Jesse Lubin. Boom!
I love it.
So here, we forgot to mention this. We talked about the guy, his name is Kurt Benkert, suited up for the Packers. And what an unbelievable gesture. They brought him in for the last play to take a knee. So he is in the record books. He is an actual player. Shay, show me the video.
Good first half.
Boom.
Do we have the picture from his Instagram?
Absolutely. Look at this guy. So then he posts the name.
Yeah, he's got dirt on the knee from taking the final play of the game. You have to absolutely love that.
You got to love these moments in sports. You got to embrace them. Very similar to the world that we live in. Got to take those moments and celebrate them. Last night was
the coach said that he's put in work for 4 years, and I guess Jordan Love
he's earned it.
He earned it, exactly.
And so Aaron was like, "Hey, let Ken go take the victory."
Right. That's great leadership.
I love when people are thinking about their people. So to your point, Mark, great leadership. We saw something that you don't see all the time, and you probably won't see again, at least in my lifetime. I don't know anybody's coming after this record. Steph Curry became the NBA all-time three-point shooter. And what a phenomenal setup. It was really exciting. I was watching it with Jake. Watch this. There it is. Yeah! That was me with Jake with the video. It was so cool because of the human being that he is. And then capitalizing on the moment, Under Armour was right there at the commercial break. Watch this.
To know what a perfect shot feels like,
You gotta make your first shot.
you have to earn that. The real work is what people don't see. Hours and hours and reps. Perfecting that craft. I know the feeling that flowed to the top of the release, and then you just kind of let the rest go. People say, what do you think about when you shoot? And I'm like, absolutely nothing.
All right, so the ticker's still going. He's going to keep playing and keep shooting three-pointers. So I don't know anybody that's even chasing him. Couple of key takeaways from that. The real work is what people don't see.
Yep.
That could be the tagline for the year, is that's really where the work happens. And then we talked about this earlier this week. We talked about it last weekend, is that when you're in it, when you are on stage,
Not thinking about anything.
thinking about nothing, man. It is an out-of-body experience. Boom. And so you've trained and practiced and done it, the hours and hours of practice that he talked about. And then back, he lays out the tracks. Really fun night to be in Madison Square Garden. For those trivia people in our huddle, Mark asked the trivia question.
What trivia question?
What are the great shots?
Oh, the one we talked about before? Yeah. So like to me, so when he made that shot, the first thing I thought in my head was like, number one, the chances to do that in Madison Square Garden are like astronomical for it to line up perfectly for him to do it in MSG. But then when you think about all of the great 3-pointers that got hit in NBA history in that building. I mean, you had obviously, Ray Allen do some incredible things while he was there, but you had Reggie Miller, who went on that tear of 3-point shots to put the Knicks out of the playoffs. You had Larry Johnson's 4-point play that happened there. And that was a really cool part of being at Madison Square Garden, was the way they portray the history of that building and all of the unbelievable things that have happened there. Very, very cool stuff.
Awesome stuff. So sports informs the world informs sports. Great stuff. Should be really fun as we go down and see all the football playoffs. But for now, we got to get some wake-up music.
Wake up, everybody! Get up! Get up! Get up! Get up! Wake up! Come on! Wake up, everybody! Did you know me? Maybe then now listen what you have to say. Wake up, everybody! No more sleeping in there. No more back to thinking, top of thinking ahead. Come on now.
All right. So I have a question that's been burning that I wanted the time to share in the huddle. What the hell happened to Clubhouse? Okay.
You were so excited to share this.
I want to say that when it came out, everybody said, you're going to switch to Clubhouse. You're going to get on Clubhouse. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. And I said, I don't get it. There's better tools out there. I don't understand. Oh, but you can get in a room with, Mark Zuckerberg, and you can get in a room. What do you mean get it? What are you talking about? I can go one-to-one with Mark Zuckerberg. I can go one-to-one with Richard Branson and LinkedIn. You know what? There's going to be a lot of comers, but if you find something that works, you stick with it. You don't, it's not deal of the day. So I want your comments on it.
Yeah. So first of all, kudos to you, because you were right. And I really don't know what's happened to it. I'm sure it's still working. I'm sure there are people still trying to leverage it, but it's nowhere near as prominent as it was when it happened. And like you said, I think, you have to ask the question, why? I think that's, when I talked about process, and process creates routine, and routines and rhythms are good. If you're not constantly analyzing whether or not it's still working for you and asking the question, why am I still doing this? Why am I doing this? Then you just end up doing things just to do them. And to me, you asked the question, why, immediately when Clubhouse came out, when everybody else was saying, oh, just go do it because it's the new thing. And, that question made a lot of sense. And so well done.
So at the time, there were 30 million people who flocked to Clubhouse. Today, it does not get 1 million.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, so
Wow.
so what went wrong?
Flash in the
dig a
pan.
little bit. What went wrong? Live audio is a feature, not a destination. You can get live audio right here. I mean, it's what we're doing.
Correct.
Marketers ruin everything, man. LinkedIn is not a selling and marketing platform. It is a personal relationship platform.
Yep.
And then the thing is that there is constantly going to be the new next thing. Constantly. There always is, man. If you're a fad, people who diet, it's the new, eat avocados, don't eat avocados. Drink, cabbage soup, don't drink cabbage. I mean, it's all day long. There's all these fads. Find something that works, stick with it, do the work, be patient. Any further comments on that, just out of curiosity?
No, I think it's spot on. I think, because that question, I got asked that question that you get asked all the time of, well, what happens when everybody moves to LinkedIn? What happens when there's no more reach on LinkedIn? What happens when the masses have LinkedIn? And the answer to that question is, well, we'll just find the next thing, or we'll just continue to figure out how to continue to get better. So just because it's new doesn't mean it's better, right? Like that's the answer, is you got to try it and figure out why it's valuable. And if you can't answer why it's valuable, then you shouldn't do it. It's not worth it.
I did it. So I did it. Larry Long, hosted a room. I got in it. I was excited. I had something to say. And then 90 million people came at me with nonsense. It was like, there was no substance there. It was just people grabbing a microphone and talking. That is not what LinkedIn is.
So I want to draw the parallel to some of what we've done at Citi, because we use video in sales all the time. That's something that we talk about. But the way we started it at Citi was really just internally for the leaders to communicate. Now, there's 6 regional directors. Of the 6, 2 of them, it's a part of a daily process for them every day. And now they have their GMs in their stores using it. So you see this differentiation between people who adopted it, understood it, created a process around it, and now the people around them are understanding how to use it. Whereas there are other ones who kind of fought that change a little bit, haven't seen the adoption, haven't seen the growth with it, and now are having struggles getting their people to use it because, they're not using it, So like when you get the new tool, you got to figure out and understand why it's important to use it so that you're able to adopt it.
So, Matt Huff says, my man Matt in New York, it's warm in New York, man. It's warm here. Where's winter? What he says is so true. To me, it was like a lottery game. I'm just putting more lottery balls out there. I don't know which one's going to turn out to be something, but, I'm in the game. And so, it's really, really fascinating to me. There's Christy, right? Video has changed the game. And so I had this conversation with somebody yesterday, one of the Roar people. And I said to her, I go, listen, if you landed on the planet on Sunday and you didn't know anything, and you go, I want to get into sales, you wouldn't use email and voicemail, cold call. You wouldn't do it. You'd say, what's the best tools? What can I use to get the most efficiency? You would wind up using LinkedIn, social media. You would use video. That
was the point in my conversation, was like, how did we get to where we are? Those tools were built for a different world. Like, for those of you who didn't see what I said, that was the whole point, is that the phone and the email were all built for a world that we were living in 40, 50, 30, 20 years ago. The rate of change within the world we're living in has never been faster. It's never been accelerating more. So if we live in a different world, why wouldn't you adopt different tools or create a different strategy? It doesn't make sense.
Right. It really doesn't. And for those who did not get a chance to see Mark in his speech and what he talked about, I'll be posting that. But shout out to Chris Pollock. Chris Pollock reached out yesterday and he said, we shut down at the end of the year. I want my people to spend that time learning. I want to buy the full series for 5 of my people. So kudos to you, my friend, because downtime is about learning. You know,
Yep.
you just listen, learn, adapt, and get better at the tools, because once you do, life changes. Your whole perspective changes, leads you down so many new paths. So having said that, it's all about, you know, planting seeds, being in the garden. No better song to talk about seeds than my favorite, Tears for Fears.
Shook up the views, the common man, left train, rides from coast to coast. DJ's the man we love the most. Could you be squeaky clean? Smashing the oath of democracy is the headline. Says you're free to choose. There's egg on your face and mud on your shoes. One of these days they're gonna hide in the views. Yeah, yeah. Something that's anything is possible. When you see it's a
Fantastic.
Isn't that, I mean, does that get better? I don't think so. I mean, the quality of music that came out of that era, I'm still, you know, all that Genesis, Tears for Fears, Doobie Brothers, just love all the stuff. Anyway, so speaking of sowing the seeds, 1789, our forefathers sowed the seeds of what this Constitution would look like, and they created something called the Bill of Rights. And today is the Bill of Rights Day. Do you know what the Bill of Rights is? RD.
Yeah, I mean, they're the rules that the Constitution was built on. It was the basic structure and principle. Oh, there you go. Right. So freedom of religion and speech, press. So they created the Constitution off of these basic rules in which they thought a society should be run by.
They created a system.
Yep.
Is what they did. A process of which to take in information and adjust behavior. God,
yep.
Gotta love that. In 1941, on this date, Franklin Roosevelt declared it Bill of Rights Day. So that called upon all officials to celebrate it, and public buildings had the flags out and all this kind of stuff. So I thought it'd be kind of cool, because we talked about this a while ago, to share what you produced, I'm guessing almost a year ago.
Yeah, it had to be sometime around a year ago. I would assume it was sometime around this time, because I probably created it for the show for this exact reason.
So before we get to that, I want to talk about, we all have rights. Here's Simon Sinek talking about rights.
I believe loving your work is a right and not a privilege. I despise the fact, I lament the fact, I curse the fact that so few people get to say, I love my job, as if they've won some lottery. You know, you go out with your friends and somebody says, I love my job, and everybody goes, oh my God, you're so lucky, right? That to me is madness. Everybody, the vast majority, should get to wake up and say, I love my job. It is a right. It is a God-given right that we should love where we work, and we should demand it. We should demand that our leaders provide an environment in which we want to come, where we want to care about each other, where we feel safe to express our vulnerabilities and our fears and our concerns, that we're open to correction and discipline and feedback, that we're not defensive because we know that it's being given to help us improve and grow, and we want to improve and grow. And in turn, we will help others improve and grow. Because when we feel safe, when we feel that our leaders care more about us than a number, they care more about our lives and our confidence and our joy and our skill set more than some short-term gain, that they care more about our priorities than the priorities of some disinterested external constituency, then we will respond in kind, and we will offer our blood and our sweat and our tears, and we will make sacrifices of all kinds to see that our leader's vision is advanced and that this company continues to thrive. Not for them.
Go.
I'm going to challenge him. I'm going to challenge him on this one, because loving what you do requires work to figure out what you want to do.
That's fair.
There are people that could work in a organization with great leaders that don't necessarily love what they do. They might love the people they work around. They might love the organization, but loving their actual work, that requires difficulty. That requires sacrifice of figuring out what it is that you actually want to do, having the accountability to yourself to say no and to change and try different things. So I think it's earned. I do think it should be a right. It should be something that's given, but that's earned. And it's not as easy as just showing up to a room full of great leaders and loving what you do immediately.
Yeah, I think for me, the point that he's trying to make is if you're looking at me as a number and you're making decisions without any care of how I fit into the equation, then it's a flawed exercise. And that's what the first 50 years of the revolution was. It was like, they're all replaceable. All the workers, they could come and go, and fuck you, I'm place you with somebody else, and don't let the door hit you in the ass and all that shit. You know, it's a different mindset now. This is the great resignation, was people saying, I don't want that anymore. I will resign. I will do something on my own. I will do whatever it takes, but I won't do it for you if you're not going to give me the atmosphere and all like that. So when we talk about rights, when you were jumping into this world and you were assessing what went on in the world, you came to me and said, Dad, there should be a sales professional bill of rights. And I almost passed out, man. I was like, dude, this is fantastic. So
this is the way I've always worked. And this is the way I work with people that we work with now, is you have to create the foundational pillars that you as a person are based on, that you as a professional are based on. And so as I've learned things from you, as you've taught me, as we've continued to evolve our teachings, this to me, if you put this at the core of being in sales, you can't lose. It's impossible to lose if you live by these 5 pillars.
And I say it's goof proof, because no matter what you do, you can have the right foundation, the right mindset, you know, then the tools change and you adapt. But this is fundamentally, you know, and I presented it differently, but it was Bill of Rights. And I remembered, I said, Shay, didn't Mark write something? I saw this and I almost passed out. And this will wind up in our presentation that we're doing on January 7th. And for those who have purchased something from Get on the Ball, please reach out to Shay, because you'll get invited to that client opportunity. We are doing a 2022 kickoff. The 90-minute fresh presentation. We'll have 100 people in a Zoom room who are committed to kicking it off right. The sales bill rights will be part of that. We'll be talking through mindset and tactics and strategies and stuff like that. So if, like Mr. Gusky, who was our first client, reach out to us, because you'll get invited to this. Anybody who has purchased or purchases it before the end of the year, you know, let us know, because you'll be invited to that live event. So there you have it. We all have rights. If you don't know what your rights are, shame on you. You got to build your own rights. So your point there was pretty fantastic. Any closing thoughts there, Mr. Author, speaker?
So there's this weekly calendar that has like this hack on names. And it said keynote speaker equals unemployed. And that was really, really funny, right? LinkedIn title hacks is what it was called.
Well, you know, for me, back in the day, somebody picked up as a consultant. Oh, you're in between.
Right.
I'm a consultant. What are you consulting? Like on what dishwasher shit to use? You know?
So fantastic conversation. If you guys want a copy of the Bill of Rights, please reach out to us, send us a message on LinkedIn, or send us an email, reach out. We're happy to share what the 5 pillars are so that you can have them. But great conversation. Find your core values in your Bill of Rights and live them every day.
And so the seeds of love. You will not be disappointed. 2 shows until we're done. I've already written Friday's show. It is a game changer, blockbuster. Hit the ball out of the park before we go. So stay tuned to tomorrow and Friday. Thanks for being here. You guys are all awesome. Now let's get down to business.
Please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. My friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down to business. Give you one more night to get this.